Welcome back, YouTube. This is your boy Afro-Capitalist. Here to make the video like I promised. We're going to be talking about investing out of state, some of the mistakes that I've made. There's a lot of videos on YouTube that talks about investing out of state real estate. Now, good videos that just give you a generic understanding on what to do when investing out of state. You know, teams that you have to build, people you have to develop relationships with. But on this video, we're going to do more of a story form. Talk about what I've done differently, you know, the mistakes that I've made investing out of state. One book that do come to mind that I do recommend for those who are wanting to invest out of state is David Green's book. I think his name is David Green from Bigger Pocket. He has something called Long Distance Investing. It's a decent book, kind of touch up on the team that you need to develop, why, how, and things like that. Gives you a general understanding of what you need to do, how to pick markets and things like that. So I do recommend that book. But what I'm going to share is just, you know, things that I've done different, you know, mistakes that I've done on my first real estate deal. So it starts with, we bought our first property in Austin, Texas. That was a house hack where we bought it as a primary. So we can do a low down payment, and the plan is to stay in there 2 years, then move on, turn into a rental. But within the 2 years, we was looking to buy the next one, and we realized that during the pandemic, the real estate market was really turning. So we realized that we were being bought out in Austin and was looking for a different market. Mind you, before we bought ours in Austin, you know, I was looking at Alabama. Wasn't doing a deep dive, but was, you know, looking at the area, trying to develop some relationships and networking. So it wasn't just like a fluke that I chose it, but we've been looking at it for a little bit. But nothing substantial, nothing enough to feel comfortable to invest. So what I did what every real estate investor do. It went straight to YouTube University. And so went to YouTube, started looking, you know, investigating who's investing in Alabama. And I came across this one guy, you know, I'm not gonna name his name. He was buying like multiple properties. I think by the time I watched this video, he was on like property number 4 or 5. And, you know, it seemed like he was doing well. You know, keyword seemed. So, you know, I took that as a green light. Well, if this guy can do it, I can do it. And mind you, he's not a local guy. He's investing from a long distance as well. And that was mistake number one. Just taking his words, you know, taking his videos, because, you know, everything on YouTube is true, right? So, you know, I reached out to him. He gave me his not property manager, but his realtor that he was using at the time. And I contacted the realtor, and, you know, she was decent. You know, she did her job. You know, she was looking at properties for me. I would send her things, and she would let me know about the area. She would hop into her car, take a video shots, video and photos of her of the neighborhood. So, you know, I can see what the neighbors look like, what the house looked like. And she was warning me about certain areas, you know, and we eventually found a house in a decent area. So she did her job. Personality-wise, we probably didn't mesh. Probably won't be using her again, but she did her job. So, you know, I can't complain about that. She found me a decent property. But, you know, I didn't have a property manager. And this guy, he didn't feel comfortable referring me to his property manager because he was having issues. And I should have took that as a red flag. So, you know, I asked the property manager, who would she recommend as a property manager? And so she recommended a property manager, and, you know, I asked all the right questions. I went on Bigger Pockets, went on my network group, and I asked them, hey, what are some of the questions you would ask a you know, property manager when you're, you know, interviewing them? And, you know, so I got a list of questions. I want to say it was maybe like 20 or 30 questions, and I asked them all. And you know, one thing I learned about property managers is they're used to this. They're used to us asking the same questions, and they know how to sell themselves. So she answered all questions correctly, all right? But that's not enough. So she answered the questions correctly, and we end up hiring her. So she puts the tenant in, and everything's going good. Mind you, she puts the tenant in. I don't know anything about this tenant. She didn't run the background check through me. She didn't run a credit report through me. I don't even know if she's ever had a prior eviction. I'm just taking everything she said at face value. So that's mistake number 2. It's your property, not the property manager. Yeah, you paid him to do your job, but you are the final say, so the buck stops with you. So that was mistake number 2, that I didn't vet that tenant, and I just trusted the property manager. So she puts the tenant in, rent, month, the first rent, we get it. Second rent, the second month we get paid. So, I could have went on YouTube, made a video how I'm a successful out-of-state investor after 2 months rent, which a lot of people do. And then 3 months roll around and we get half the rent. And I'm like, what's going on? So I reach out to the property manager. I ask her, hey, what's going on? I see that we only got half of the month. Can you give me some updates on what's going on? She tells me, hey, this is common around the holidays. People are tighter on funds and they can't really make their rent. Should have took that as a red flag. But I'm not a slumlord, and I'm not trying to put nobody out on the streets during the holidays. So, I trusted the advice of the property manager. And, so the 4th month rolls around and I'm still getting half rent. So now we're in February and I'm not getting rent at all. And so I started reaching out to my experienced investors and asking, networking and asking them, hey, listen, this is the situation, what's going on, what should I do? And everybody say, fire your property manager ASAP. So I understood the assignment. So, the plan was to fire her, but I wanted her to get this tenant out of here before I fire her. So I called her and said, hey, let's start the eviction process ASAP. So, luckily for me, Alabama is a landlord-friendly state, so the eviction process didn't take much longer. It was maybe about another month or 2, and she was out. So through this whole process, I had a maintenance guy who was supposed to do a turnover for me. Now, mind you, this maintenance guy was a referral from the property manager. So that's mistake number 3, maybe 3 or 4, I don't know where I'm at right now. If your referral comes from poor operators or poor craftsmanship, most likely the people they're going to refer to you have similar work ethics. And so this lady referred me to this guy, this maintenance guy. And I developed a relationship with this guy because this whole time while I'm with this property manager and she refers me to this guy, this dude is dogging the property manager out. I mean, just telling me everything. Like, she doesn't check on the tenants, she overcharges for services, she's not a great operator. Now, mind you, I begin to trust his words because everything that he did say and warn me about came to fruition over time. And so, but it was a little suspect because he was doing it in such a way that he was kind of insinuating that he can do a better job. Either or, I felt a little comfortable because now I got 2 people who are kind of watching my property. So I put some confidence in this guy. So every time I had a maintenance guy, I told her, hey, send it to this guy. So now fast forward, we're getting ready to do my first turnover out of state. And I asked this guy, hey, I need a cleaning crew. AC's acting up, there's some other issues. Can you fix it? Take care of it. Send me an invoice. He takes care of it. He's on top of it. Great communicator. But mind you, remember, she was a referral from a poor operator. So I should have expect poor workmanship. But I trusted this guy. So I go to do my investigations and find another PM. Now this time I reached out to other investors, reached out to Bigger Pockets, and other investors kept bringing up the same name. And usually when you get referrals from other investors, that's usually better for multiple investors, especially the ones that's in the area. So I reached out to this guy, do some investigating on the company. Seems like a very good company. We get him, takes over, gets a tenant in there, runs all the tenant criteria past me, gives me the final say so. Great communication. So we got a better PM. But before she takes over all her property, she does her own inspections, and she requires the landlord to put the property up to par before she takes over, which I really like. That means she's holding everybody to a standard. So she goes in there, I say, hey, that's good. My guy just took care of all those things, so we shouldn't have any work to be done. We shouldn't. So she goes in there, she tells me, hey, I don't know who the guy you're hiring, but his house is barely clean. There's stains all over the walls. The stove's not clean. The refrigerator's not clean. And the AC work is shoddy at best. So she sent me pictures, and I'm just shocked because I guess the angles of picture this guy, took were the best angles, and horrible work, craftsmanship. I mean, he was duct taping and gluing what he can, and just I don't know what he did. And so now she brings all her guys, she brings her own crew. And what I like about what she did was she used qualified people for the job. So she brought an electrician for the electrical work, she brought a AC guy for the AC work, and she brought cleaners. It wasn't a one-stop shop, one guy did everything, but she brought professionals for all. She sent me the invoice. So she wasn't charging me for the work, she was just sending these guys over and they would send me the invoice, which I really liked. So they did a great job. They did videos. They let me know the life of each product, what I'm going to look for in the future, what should I do, what to watch out for. Way better experience. So, mistake number 3 was trusting this guy, knowing that I got a referral from a bad operator. Right now, this property manager got this tenant in there on a 2-year lease, have not missed a payment. Barely any issues. I think I got 1 service call, took care of it. I mean, everything's going great. So, more of the story is, the biggest takeaway that I've learned from this is that, yeah, you can go ahead and build your team like everybody recommends you to do, but you're going to find a lot of horrible operators before you find good ones. I feel like the most fail-proof way of investing out of state is finding a mentor who is seasoned and who is investing in a specific or a given area you're wanting to go into, and for multiple reasons. When you find him, first of all, you gotta check his credibility, because these YouTubers be lying, guys. I mean, they be fluffing their word. There's people out here buying 20, 30 properties a year, never had an eviction, don't know what their books look like, don't know what their numbers look like. You ask them what their cash on cash return, they're using a whole different metric. So first, when you're finding a mentor, you want to vet what strategy they're using, how they're running their numbers. Do their philosophy align with yours? Second, you want to ask them how long have they been investing, period, and how long have they been investing in a specific market. You don't want to be following somebody that's only been in the market for 6 months. He's from California, he's buying a whole bunch of 50,000 house prices, and he's got like 10 of them, but he's never had an eviction. He don't know what his tenant pool looks like. He's never worked with Section 8, so you're running all the mistakes that he's running. You want to find somebody that has already made the mistake, has already made the connections, got a Rolodex of contractors, got a Rolodex of maintenance guys, and you just want to plagiarize what he does, what he do. There's a hedge of protection when you do it that way, because when you use his contractors, when you use his maintenance guys, and you tell them, hey, this person brought me here, they're going to take care of you, because they know they don't want to piss off the person who's paying them and bringing them all this revenue, because that's where all their profit is coming from. So there's a hedge of protection there. So that's my biggest takeaway, is finding a seasoned mentor in the area and just, get your resource from them, versus you could go in there, do your interviewing style, but I'm telling you, when you're not face to face, they can tell you what you want to hear. They can even show you what you want to see. But it's not until you have trusted boots on the ground you can really trust what's going on in the area. So right now the property is running good. I just got 1 there. The verdict is out. I'm not sure if I'm going to buy another one there, because one of the issues with Alabama is that they don't really have good property managers. There's a lot of them, and most all of them suck. But this one is pretty good. But the fact that there's only 1, if they go belly up or if they choose not to do this anymore, I don't want to be stuck with like 15 properties and I have nobody to help me out. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do with Alabama yet. The verdict is still out. But I have found another market. I have done it the right way. And in the next video, I'm going to share with you which market, I chose, how I chose it, and, how I'm going about learning the market, how I'm, learning not just the assets, but the tenant pool as well. So if you have any questions or comments, let me know. Put it in the comments below. I'll share you the resources. If you're interested in investing in Alabama, Montgomery, Alabama to be specific, I can send you over the PM that I'm working with. Highly recommend. They do everything. They do rehabs, they do flips. So if you want to, use them as a resource, just tell them I sent them. They sent you to them. Have at it. But on the next video, we'll just talk about the markets that I'm going to be looking forward to investing in, and I'll share with you some of the research that I'm using in those markets. All right, the boys out.